Today we're going to build Hello World using WebOrb for .NET. To start, we'll create a new Visual Studio project. It'll be a simple class library, which we will name Hello World Server. And for our first class, we're going to get rid of most of that and call our class Hello World Service. We'll add one method, which returns a string. And the string is Hello World. Don't forget the semicolon. And we'll save it. And we'll build it. Get 0 errors and warning. Let's go to where it's been built. In the projects folders, in our samples, Hello World Server, bin directory, and debug, and there's our DLL. Now we'll take that DLL, and one way to deploy it to WebOrb is to drop it into the folder of WebOrb itself. So this is the WebOrb.net folder, version 4.005. That's my current version. You may have a more recent version, in which case you'll put it there. By dropping the DLL into this folder, we deploy it into WebOrb. To make sure that that deployment has been successful, we can go to the WebOrb for .NET Management Console. We'll update the deployed assemblies list, and there we see Hello World Server. We can click down further and look at the getHelloString function. We can even invoke that function and see that the result comes back correctly. It is of type string, and it has the value Hello World. Now we can do more stuff on the WebOrb for .NET Management Console, including generate source code. We can generate source code for Flex, for Cairngorm, for Ajax, for pure MVC, for pretty much anything you want. We're going to generate it for Flex, and it generates these two files, Hello World Service.ActionScript and Hello World Service Model. And we could just copy and paste that code out, but in this case we're going to download it. But first, look at the Calculate ROI button. If we click on that, it takes our cost per month, our productivity, and figures out that 124 lines of code computes to $620 I saved by generating this code rather than writing it myself. Now I'm going to click the Generate Project File checkbox and download the code that makes it possible for the client to access the server. I'm going to save that code in my Flex Builder workspace. I'm going to close that and go directly into Flash Builder. In Flash Builder, I'll go to the Import menu, select the Flash Builder project, browse to the project I just downloaded. That's WebOrb CodeGen. And then I finish. Let's look at the resulting Hello World Service application. All of this code was imported, having been generated by WebOrb for .NET. Without even looking at it, let's go ahead and build it as a web application. And of course, nothing happens because it has no user interface, nor is the client actually calling the server-side code yet. So now let's look at the main application. This source code was generated for Flex version 3.5, and I'm using 4.0, so I'm going to update this This is basically the same code, but for Flex SDK version 4.x. So I'm going to copy this out and paste it in instead of the previously generated code. And I'll go ahead and build that. And it still has no user interface or connection to the server. So now I need to add that. Well, how do I do that? First, I'm going to go to the generated code, and its comments section tells me how to access the service. So I'm simply going to copy that paste out and paste it in here. Getting rid of a little, okay, so we can see this. I'm going to have to scope these variables or the compiler is going to barf at me. And we'll scope that one likewise. Gosh, I wish I could type. All right, now I'm going to put this call in the onload function. And rather than calling foo, I'm going to call get hello string. So when the application loads, it's going to call the service proxy get hello string. Now I still need to add a user interface. To do that, I will go to design mode, and in design mode I will simply add a label. Go back to source code and change the text of that label to bind to the model get hello string result. And let's build that again. And voila, we see hello world. So when the application launches, it calls the service proxy. Let's go ahead and look up that code. Calls get hello string. Hello string invokes the same function on the remote object. That's an asynchronous call. When the result is successful, it sets model get hello string result to the value returned by the asynchronous call. So model.get hello string result is set to the return value. Because that is set to be bindable, I can simply have the text of the label be bound to that value, and when the function call returns, the label updates. And so that's what happened. Let's see it again. And there you go. Hello World using WebOrb for .NET. Thanks, and goodbye.